You work at Columbia University.
I do.
Speaking of clown cars.
Bill Maher brought on a couple of woke idiots onto his show and absolutely annihilated one of them for a ridiculously woke take here, live on Real Time with Bill Maher. Things got a little bit chippy, things got pretty heated, and Bill Maher is just not backing down recently when it comes to destroying these woke idiots. Let's get into this clip here where Bill Maher takes down yet another woke idiot here live on Real Time with Bill Maher, and then the audience absolutely erupts in applause after. Let's check it out.
All right, so, John, you work at Columbia University.
I do.
Speaking of clown cars.
I should say that I have been on a blissful sabbatical for the entire year.
Lucky you.
I only know so much, but go ahead.
All right. Well, I mean, starting last week, Trump is going to war now on elite universities. Now, I cannot be a hypocrite. I went through my book that came out last year. It'll be out in paperback very soon. And I can't be a hypocrite. I wrote down some of the things that I've said over the past that were gathered in the book. Don't go to an elite college. It makes you stupid. Elite universities are the mouth of the river from which manner all radical left illiberal, yes, illiberal nonsense flows. They're four-year daycare centers for the cry bullies of the privileged to complain about privilege. College today is not the college you remember. It's a day spa and a North Korean re-education camp put together.
This is so true, man. And I just love that Bill Maher is on this arc now where he just goes and destroys all this woke idiots. And you can see this guy, I don't even know his name. I don't really care. This guy right here, he's laughing at it, but it's 100% a laugh through the pain type scenario here. You can tell he's hurt by it. Look at his face right now. You can tell he's hurt by it, but he's just laughing through the pain. He feels embarrassed in front of the live audience. He doesn't want to go at Bill Maher. But Bill Maher just absolutely tearing him and the institution that he's involved in to absolute shreds. And deservedly so, right? That institution is 100% hijacked by the woke cult. And they are just absolutely brainwashing kids and propagandizing kids as they go through. And it's not even just college anymore. It's infiltrated down high school, middle school, elementary, kindergarten, all the way down there. But colleges were kind of the first ones to get taken over by this, internalized and turned into complete indoctrination camps. And especially when you go to certain schools, it's really, really bad. And it's good that people like Bill Maher are out there calling this stuff out. Bringing these people on live television on Real Time at Bill Maher and telling him to his face, man, you work for and support an institution that is 100% corrupt and brainwashing and ruining the minds of kids when it's supposed to be enriching them. It's supposed to be the go-to place to be and go to enrich the minds of the future generation of kids as they're growing up, as they're becoming adults, trying to make them useful citizens. And you're absolutely propagandizing them and brainwashing them into thinking absolute delusional things. You are part of this. Let's get back into it.
They're asshole factories. If ignorance is a disease, Harvard majority is the Wuhan wet market. Okay, so that's where I am. I can't, but I get the inclination, but as with most things now with this new administration, the way they do it, you can't do it by taking people off the street just because they wrote an op-ed pro-Palestinian. I'm not pro-Palestinian the way they see it either, but, or, you know, these people who are just disappeared because they have a tattoo. I'm so glad I don't have tattoos.
Bill, I should say the kind of student you're talking about, in my experience, is a minority of the students. I don't see the whole campus as this, but there is a problem. I mean, frankly, Columbia has tried, for example, this year to eradicate or at least dampen anti-Semitism. I mean, Manoush Shafiq did get 100 students arrested. You now cannot get onto the campus without a card, which is in order to protect, especially Jewish students, from having to listen to anti-Semitic protests all day long. The 3 administrators who were nakedly anti-Semitic in their texts were justifiably fired. But the thing is, I don't think this is really about anti-Semitism from the Trump.
Of course it's not. You can't even go into it. That's really the virtue signal that we're using now. Our campus is tackling anti-Semitism. Like, come on, man. That's what we're doing? That's just, I mean, it's so BS. Dude, there's so many other things that your campus could be doing, and you're using anti-Semitism as, like, the scapegoat. Dude, it's okay. I wish I could just even talk about it, but you can't talk about it on this platform. But those students will be okay, trust me. The real problems are that the trans agenda and all the other woke brainwashing constantly going on these college campuses, those are the real problems. And you're going to bring up, well, our campus actually is tackling anti-Semitism. You just sound like an idiot, man. Anybody who buys into this and they're not in their head alone, like, yeah, that's a good job. Columbia's doing a great job tackling anti-Semitism. You're an idiot. You're a victim of this brainwashing, this agenda. That's not the type of things we're actually complaining about when it comes to Columbia. We're complaining about, brainwashing kids with trans agendas and DEI practices and turning away Asian students because there's too many Asian students at your college to let in people of other color, other races. That's the ridiculous part. Why are you not mentioning anything about that? Let's see what Bill Maher has to say in response to that, though.
Administration. I think they care about as much about anti-Semitism as a kitchen cabinet or a spoon. What they are really upset about is just wokeness in general, and universities do have a problem with wokeness. That is a real problem.
Yes, they have a problem with...
Of course, the main problem with college campuses and college teachers, professors, main problem is the wokeness, right? But tackling stuff like anti-Semitism, things like that, is not going to solve the problem. That's a much deeper problem than that. That's just like a scapegoat that you can use, and it's just nonsense overall. And I wish I could go into it, but you're just not allowed to right now. But we also have this clip here from the same episode of Real Time at Bill Maher, where Bill Maher and his guest continues to destroy this wokeness that is going on here, plaguing college campuses, plaguing the world, plaguing the entire country. Let's check it out.
Writer for the New York Times, his newest book is called Pronoun Trouble, John McWhorter, and the New York Post columnist and author of The Canceling of the American Mind, Ricky Schwab. Okay.
All right. Look how good we must have done in the real show. All right, here are the questions from the people. What did the panel think of Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calling Texas governor, okay, she's from Texas, the governor, Greg Abbott, who is paralyzed and uses a wheelchair, she called him Governor Hot Wheels. What do you think?
Congressperson Crockett is part of the new trend where informality is okay, where formality used to reign. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's been going on since the 60s. So her routine is that she wants to bring a little bit of what I might quaintly call the ghetto cat fight into these spaces. I get it, bring a blaxploitation movie or something into Congress. Great, work it. But you do not make fun of the fact that somebody lives their life in a wheelchair. That doesn't work. If she thinks...
100% agree, by the way. I got a lot of flack in my video that I did on this whole topic where I was saying that it's just classless. It's cool to make jokes and everything. I'm not mad at you making jokes, but it's just classless, man. I'm also a believer that karma is a real thing and it exists and it's gonna come back around. And it's gonna hurt you if you laugh at things like that, make fun of people who are disabled. It's ridiculous. I don't care if you disagree with him. Like I'll never make fun of Joe Biden just for the sake of it because the guy's senile. I understand that he's senile. I'm not gonna do that. Some things that he did were objectively funny, like pooping himself on stage as the U.S. president, the president of the United States, pooping yourself because you're just unable to control your own body and you got elected. I think that's pretty funny, but it's not hilarious because he's not able to control his own body. It's hilarious because there's a large majority of the country that voted for the guy to elect him as the president of the United States, knowing that he is the type of guy to poop himself. Kidding, but at the capacity as a human being to, be in that headspace and poop himself on stage while acting as the president of the United States. That's why it's funny. It's not funny because he's disabled, okay? That's never, that's just classless to make fun of someone because they're disabled. I 100% agree. I know a lot of you in the comments get mad at me like, oh, it's just a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, I get it. It's just a joke, but it's a classless joke. It's not a funny joke, in my opinion. The dude's disabled. It's not funny.
Being black and fabulous gives her a pass on that, then she's got a really unfortunate sense of what black is.
Well, what do you think, Ricky?
I think this is just an example of when they go low, we go lower. And the Democratic Party is going to lose if they try to use kind of MAGA world tactics back at them. I think that if the Democrats want to succeed in the future, they need to be the party that is normal, that are stand-up people, that do not take the cheap shots back.
Look, I don't think that the Democrats are going to win on being high and mighty. That's what they've been doing for the longest time. I also don't think they're going to win trying to be, like Ricky just said, to Bill Maher here, trying to be MAGA, use MAGA type jokes. It's not going to work because the things that MAGA makes fun of are actually funny. A lot of times they made fun of the ridiculous trans ideology and the ridiculous things that happen in the world that are objectively astronomically ridiculous with anyone with common sense. And a lot of the leftists even know that these things are ridiculous, which is why their arguments never check out whenever they're in a debate, which is why they will never leave their echo chamber. But the things that MAGA makes fun of a lot of the times are things that are objectively ridiculous. And I'm objectively leaning that way, that it's not funny that a man is in a wheelchair. I don't care. It doesn't make it funny because he disagrees with you politically, right? It's objectively not funny. Whereas making fun of a guy entering a woman's swimming competition when he has a giant bulge in his Speedo, that's pretty funny. I would laugh at that one. Everyone can make fun of hilariousness of the situation, of the world we're living in, what's beholding my eyes. But I'm really curious to hear what you all think in the comment section below about this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.